So, would 13-year-old me actually enjoy this? Definitely would say probably. Alright class, settle down and let me tell you a story. We're back with Shoe's Gender War, and this time we are going to take a look at the rise of Twitch Th0ts. But before we do, please like, share, subscribe, do the whole notification button thing to help me out with the algo. And here we go. The Th0t Epidemic. I honestly thought it was the title was the rise of Twitch Th0ts, but you know what? I heard, I'm not really sure who said it or if there was even a study behind it, but someone actually pointed out that for all intents and purposes, Twitch is a porn site. So I guess we'll see what Shoe thinks of it.
Years ago, I made a video about how if you don't like seeing lewd things online,
get
simply
off.
close your eyes and walk away. But what happens when you do close your eyes and walk away, but no matter where you walk away to, you bump right back into it? Whether it's on Twitter, TikTok, or even Twitch.
Yep.
Dasani water. I'm gonna get canceled for this. All these years, and
No
this is what's
Monster
gonna
yet?
get me canceled. I don't want to hear it from any water snobs, okay? Where are my fellow Dasani heads at? But anyway, do you like
That's
the
a
red hair?
Dasani head.
A lot of the Twitch
Yeah,
thoughts
actually.
that I'm going to be talking about have red hair.
Red looks
I felt
nice
like I
on
was
her.
missing out. Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Amaranth?
Today we are talking about the Twitch Th0t Epidemic and its consequences, as well as OnlyFans culture and the de-civilization of I promise this will make sense. Maybe. Like all my videos, just kind of
Interesting.
messy brain vomit. I mean, I guess that's one way you could be sure I'm not plagiarizing. When I start to sound
I mean, people are getting desensitized to sex for the simple reason that every time you open up your phone, from FB to Twitter to, well, almost every social media out there, you will see ass and tits.
smart and make sense, that's a red flag. I figured out how to use ChatGPT. So for those of you who
Awesome.
are unaware, Twitch is a video game streaming website, or at least it used to be,
That's
where
what they
people
say.
often stream themselves playing video games and interact with their viewers. But recently, in the past few years, it has been invaded by women. But not only women, naked women. Now you might be asking, Shoe,
Now, the question is that really a bad thing?
what is wrong with that? And normally, you'd be correct. But Twitch is a website for kids. Advertise for
Is it? Is it really? I mean, what's the mission vision here? What is the purpose? What is the point? What are the bylaws? But I guess when you think about it, the entire thing was made for children.
users 12 and up, and predominantly used by young boys. And the question on everyone's mind is, are these
I mean, so are Legos, but
evil Jezebels
there was this theme, or there was this ongoing trend about My Little Pony that the target market aren't exactly children, but actually grown or adult men. So there could be something behind that, but you know what? Let's just keep going.
preying on today's youth? Or are they simply the product of capitalism? Clever, sneaky women taking advantage of people living under a brutal system in order to selfishly make money. So about 2 weeks ago, this tweet showed up on my Twitter
Oh yeah, I remember this one. I remember this one being a big deal because what she was doing was that she was being very suggestive, but she wasn't wearing any clothes at all.
timeline. What's going on with Twitch? Which showed a streamer wearing no shirt, swinging her fun bags around slightly off camera every time she got a donation. So for strictly research purposes, I went to Twitch to see if this was real, and surely enough it was. And it wasn't just one streamer, it was many. It was
Yeah, there was a lot of them. It was an ongoing trend. I mean, she may have had like a certain point from the beginning, right? If you don't want like what you see on the internet, then what? Log off. Go to another website. I mean, but then again, to a 12 or a 13-year-old boy, this could be his feed. This could be his homepage, right? This could be his notification that, Amaranth is up. I'm not really sure what to think, what to say about it, because I come from a generation that the internet did exist, but it wasn't a thing yet. So for us, porn was a lot of trouble. It was something that we had to acquire at great expense and after great effort. So, would 13-year-old me actually enjoy this? Definitely would say probably.
Multiple. It was the entire home page.
Yep.
And then when you went to click on one of the streams, it just took you there. No verification needed, no login required, nothing. And the whole internet pretty much agreed this was insane.
See, that's the whole point. No verification, no nothing needed. But are you 18 plus? Has that actually ever worked? Does that questionnaire actually ever work? Does that verification system actually ever work?
Not everyone, we will get to that, but most people agreed this was crossing a line. Because of all the outrage, Twitch changed.
I mean, was it crossing a line? Because if you go to FB, if you go to any other social media site right now, you will see ass and tits. And some even worse.
The rules not to fix the website. They changed the rules in order to save the Twitch thoughts. Twitch actually doubled down and made it so
Artistic
twerking, pole
nudity.
dancing, and artistic nudity was allowed. Artistic nudity. Right. So obviously, Twitch is run by simps. We knew this. Anyway,
Artistic nudity being that, well, art is subjective. Interesting. I mean, it definitely falls under the category of freedom of speech. But then again, freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences. And then the same constitution also provides protection for the next generation or its children in parents patriae. But then again, we're going off tangent on the legality of this whole thing.
artistic nudity. So
But
like,
what we can't have is prior restraint, right? If a girl wants to shake her fun bags off angle or off camera, then it's definitely her right. But the question is, where can she actually show it? That's the question. Is the whole thing subject to government regulation? But then again, there's this concept of prior restraint. It's a big hullabaloo about jurisdiction. It's a big hullabaloo about what exactly constitutes free speech and what constitutes prior restraint when it comes to these kind of things.
can you glue googly eyes onto your Can you do like a little meat spin on camera with googly eyes?
Helicopter.
And that would be considered cool and fine because it's art, right, Twitch? Why am I
Is
still
it?
doing this? So then VTubers,
probably
animated
is.
YouTubers, took advantage of this new artistic nudity rule and started
See, again, who's to say what's art and what's not?
streaming their avatars butt-ass naked.
It's called hentai.
Yep.
And it's art.
Yes, it is.
Only for them
Is
to
it?
get banned while the Twitch thoughts remained. Clearly, 2D girl discrimination. A few
Yeah.
days later, Twitch finally banned the Twitch thoughts for a day.
If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Okay, time's up.
This has been going on for a very long time. From hot tub streams to ASMR ear licking. Twitch has just becoming a cesspool for this stuff.
Yeah.
Especially in the past 3 years, following
The ear licking thing was new to me.
a pattern I have been seeing online. A huge increase of OnlyFans models and everywhere. And it isn't just my observation, it's a fact. There are many studies that came out that show pornography and pornography addiction increased significantly during the pandemic, especially for young people, and hasn't
I mean, what exactly were people supposed to do back then? It was the pandemic. There were the lockdowns.
decreased since. And the amount of people making content on OnlyFans has skyrocketed. Being locked in our houses absolutely did something to our brains.
Yes, it
you
did.
used to have to go out of your way to see this stuff, and
Exactly.
now it's everywhere. Now, compare this to how I talked about this issue a few years ago, where I would make fun of people for complaining about. This is like walking into a strip club and being like, get your horny asses out of here. The difference is now everywhere is the strip club. It's to the point where even
See,
meme
that's what I'm
accounts
saying.
on Twitter are being
Everywhere
paid
is
to
the strip club. Just open up your phone, and that everywhere actually constitutes your phone.
discreetly advertise OnlyFans pages. And you can't even block the accounts that show up as ads on Twitter. Great website, Elon. 13 plus, by the way. And anyone who points this out is called a prude or a conservative. If you have an issue with
I
naked
mean,
women
I did have a problem. That's why I turned to this other social media network, because for some reason I have been followed by bots, and most of them look like OF models. I didn't go back to X or quote unquote Twitter until they disappeared.
making softcore on a website full of children, you're the problem. How does the overall well-being of society affect you, bigot? Most of the internet seemed to agree that this Twitch thing was wrong, but there were a lot of people mad at me and others for pointing out the obvious. So we're gonna respond to some of those critiques from people who disagree on this subject, and then we're gonna talk a little more deeply about all of this, because I feel like it's a little deeper than the Twitch thoughts.
For me, I think that there needs to be a legal definition of what exactly constitutes what, because that girl shaking her fun bags off cam, hold on, where is she? Forgot her name, but it was a thing. It was a news like about a year ago or 2 years ago. Art? Porn? Does it constitute porn? What exactly constitutes porn? Do you need to see the nipple for it to be porn? I think there needs to be a legal definition. Like, for example, this girl, half of her ass was out of there. And of course, it was insinuated that something was happening to the other half of her body. But then again, what exactly constitutes porn? And what is the legal definition of porn based on that specific jurisdiction?
Twitch thoughts are just a symptom of a disease. Why doesn't Twitch just make a new 18+ site? They do this on Twitch because the market is already saturated on actual porn sites. They won't stand out. They can find a larger, younger audience on Twitch. What I'm trying to say is, these should be banned. Okay, so my tweet was a little harsh, but...
a bit harsh.
Am I wrong? Blaming these women for what Twitch allows and calling them accomplishes nothing except morally grandstanding that you think you're better than them.
I mean, supply and demand. The market is definitely open. So what's the point here? Are we morally grandstanding? So yeah, this is more grandstanding.
So first of all, I am better than them. So are you. So is everyone who doesn't make on Twitch. And second of all,
I'm not honestly sure about that. Because it's a hard life out here, alright? It's a mean world out here, and guess what? We all need to make a living. Are we better than them? That feels like judgment to me. Us being better than them, the ones who make porn on Twitch. Are they actually making porn? Is that the legal definition of porn? And honestly, it feels like judgment to me. I don't agree with it because it's a big bad world out there. People are hurting for cash. The pandemic just ended. The lockdowns just ended. People needed a way to make money. And guess what? It was the quickest way to put food on the table. We all do what we have to do to survive in this world. We forgave, what's up, brother? We forgave Sketch because he did what he had to do to survive. There was nothing wrong with that. I mean, we all collectively agreed that he did nothing wrong. But about these girls, then again, there was a line that like, what, a majority of the Twitch audience are minors, but then again, saying that we are better than these people, or, you know, everyone's better than these people making porn on that site, it feels like judgment. And you know what, you guys, it's a hard world out here. It's a hard world out there. We all do what we can to make a living, so, and we could all do with a little less judgment. I mean, that's my take on this whole thing. We all need to do what we can in order to survive.
Well, I know calling them does nothing. I did it because it was funny. These are grown-ass women toying with the TOS. They know what they're doing is wrong. They know they're walking a fine line. That's why they're here on Twitch.
I mean, that's a question. That is the question, right? They're walking a fine line because majority of the audience on Twitch are minors. But then again, I mean, they are minors and they are supposedly under the care of parents who are supposed to control this type of behavior, or supposed to control or at least provide some semblance of control over what these people consume over the internet.
And not on the hundreds of adult websites that exist. If a parrot are so dangerous to you, maybe you should lock yourself in the cave. Cry more, little bro, and tell your fellow bros to stop thinking.
See, here's the thing, right? All these 13-year-old boys, all these minors, they could literally get this from anywhere else. Twitch doesn't need to exist. Twitch is just part of that evil. Because like I said, are you 18 plus? You click on that button. When has that ever helped?
With their dicks. Hello, fellow bros. Stop thinking with your dicks. Brace yourselves. The incels about to lose their minds and act like women are ruining Twitch. Lol at the men in these comments admitting they are not attracted to women. I'm sorry you don't like hot women. Maybe work on the internalized misogyny. Nah, sorry. If you don't like huge oiled up milkers bouncing around on a Twitch stream, I'm just gonna assume you hate women. Do straight men even like women? Oh, you're not sexualizing women? You're not just gooning to every woman you see? What do you hate women?
I'm honestly confused now. Like, what exactly is going on?
What are you, gay? How did they manage to reverse engineer being sexist into not going awooga, awooga, honk, honk every time they see a woman? Incredible. Huge fan of these mammoth milkers, but I do worry about the dynamic and weirdness of women who are essentially sex workers interacting with and asking for donations from chat on a site largely used by young men. Feels like a race to the bottom. When Vosh and I, the people who talk about f***ing Pokemon, are saying things have gotten weird, I think that's proof that things have gotten weird.
See, again, we are judging. It's a race to the bottom. Who put us here?
As a sex worker, I agreed. I dislike the blurring of adult and all ages platforms like Twitch and TikTok, but I also don't know what men expected when it's so successful either. I don't know, I guess men expected women not to get borderline naked on a website occupied with children, maybe? The bar is really not that high. There is a market.
Alright, so her issue with this whole thing is that people shouldn't get naked on this particular site that is supposedly filled with minors. Alright, so that's the main issue, that's her main thrust right here. But if you think about it, the entire internet is a landscape full of weirdos, full of creeps. Again, the internet is an open landscape. Alright, certain areas for everyone, certain areas for children only, certain areas for adults only. However, the whole thing has always been open. Like I said, 18 plus has it actually worked in keeping out the people that should be kept out? I mean, someone pointed out that Twitch is a porn site for all intents and purposes. So the question is, how do we stop it? How do we stop this whole thing?
For literally everything. That doesn't make literally everything excusable. If you give your kid unrestricted access to the internet, that's a you problem. Parents have to take some
Yeah, exactly. See, this is what I was saying. Parents have to take some level of responsibility over their child's online content consumption. Some level of responsibility. They are minors after all. They are under their control. It's an open market out there, and apparently the best market for these quote-unquote thoughts is Twitch. Parents at least need to exercise some responsibility over what their minor children could actually do or could actually access online. I mean, this isn't the first time, but the thing is, these are 12, 13-year-old boys. I was a 12, 13-year-old boy, and guess what? The lack of internet and parental control didn't stop me from acquiring porn. Now, it's a question of easier access over a website that is supposedly meant for minors or that is supposedly meant for video games. I mean, the floodgates have always been open. So the question now is, how do we stop it?
level of responsibility over their child's online content consumption. So I agree with this. Of course I agree with this. Parents should absolutely be monitoring what their kids are looking at online. The issue is Twitch is advertised as a website for them. It is advertised for users 12 and up, so parents will naturally assume that the website doesn't feature like this. I think that's a pretty reasonable assumption to make. Like, I don't have to sit and watch Nick Jr. constantly with a 10-year-old just in case Peppa Pig decides to go Girls Gone Wild. It's safe to assume that is not going to happen. So yes, you should be monitoring what your kids are doing online, but this isn't like a kid going onto an 18+ website. This is a kid going on a website that is advertised for them, that is made for them.
So
this
that's
is
the
in big
issue.
part the website's problem. A lot of people were saying that the solution to this would be making Twitch 18+, which I agree makes perfect sense to do, but the thing is, Twitch won't make it 18 plus, because that's what drives away advertisers. Lots of advertisers won't advertise on websites that are 18 plus. It's too risky, it's bad for their brand. And Amazon, the owner of Twitch, needs more money, of course. Same reason Twitter isn't being made 18 plus, because at the end of the day, the richest men in the world need more money. And apparently, Twitch is going bankrupt. No wonder they want to keep the Twitch thoughts on the platform.
What's the status now, by the way? 2025. Are they still going bankrupt? Can someone please put it down in the comments?
Also, I didn't even know that Twitter was only 13 plus until embarrassingly recently. Elon, I beg of you, either make Twitter 18 plus or get rid of the porn. I personally think the former is the better
Elon's
idea
gone.
because I'm tired of seeing unsolicited opinions of minors on the internet, and I just don't get tired of seeing images of strangers' butt pop up on my Twitter
exactly.
timeline while I'm scrolling in public. Always a joy. But think of the children aside, Twitch is just not a website for this. There are thousands of other websites for this. There are so many, so why do these women have to do this on a website not for this? Well, it's simple.
Open market. Open payment. Money's there. They go where the money is.
Because the websites that are made for this stuff are already oversaturated. The market is full, and basically these mids are not going to stand out on a dirty webcam site where there's thousands of other people doing exactly what they're doing. But when there's only a few dozen on Twitch doing it, they're more likely to stand out, get more followers, make more money, and attract an audience that wouldn't normally go on those other sites. Unfortunately, in this case, a much younger audience. I remember in like 2008 or so, I did a fan meetup, and most of the people that came were in their 20s, in college, in their 30s, but there were like a few 12, 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds with their parents, and I was just like,
They weren't
no.
meant to see some
Like, it
things.
just didn't even occur to me that people that young would be watching my content or interested in my content. But just the fact that people that age knew about me was so scary. So
We really need to check our demographics, right? I mean, no one here is below 18. We get into some pretty grim, dark stuff, all right? It makes me a bit worried. I'm gonna have to check it after this.
just have to wonder, like, how are these people not feeling that way? Like, I didn't purposely go out of my way to attract that audience, but these people are going out of their way to attract
I mean, we do Warhammer, we do MMA, we do Trench Crusade. But, oh yeah.
that audience. If they weren't,
Oh, okay, so that's the issue here. These people go out of their way to attract a minor audience.
they wouldn't be doing it on this website. They would be doing it on the websites this stuff is for.
All right, I got it. So that's her issue, right? Because at first I thought that's a lot. I'm hearing a lot of judgments that, you know, we're better than these people. But then again, this girl never disappoints. Love her. So that's the issue. These people go out of their way to attract minors. Thank you for watching, guys. So if you want me to check out other stories here on YouTube, please let me know in the comments. We upload on the weekends, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Also, check out our Twitch channel where you can watch me do this live. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do the whole notification button thing to help me out with the algo, and class dismissed.